Hello, dear friends. Epic means grand or extraordinary. Opinion piece. Epic destiny. Bright fate. Glorious future. Favorable outlook. Dissipation of darkness. Expansion of consciousness. Let's start. The darkness is rapidly dissipating, and the earth is preparing for a glorious future, according to Matthew, through his mother Susan Ward. Many of the next generations will come from missionaries of light, and increasingly intense frequencies will reactivate the 10 dormant DNA strands of souls mired in darkness. Residents of the Golden Age will live in the higher fifth density frequency, where Gaia and her planetary body originated, and the people will take their rightful place as members of our universal family. The prevailing light will then be close to the intensity it had at the planet's inception, and civilization will have almost the same purity as the souls who originally inhabited it. But this time there will be no turning back, due in large part to our dedication to succeeding in the mission. In previous messages, we have said that nothing is as it seems, and given that the elaborate deception is still present in the world, that statement is as true today as it was years ago. This also applies to the accuracy of the many promises that there will be no third world war or nuclear war. Behind the world stage, where chaos, conflict and confusion are the center of attention, some of the wisest, most influential and most knowledgeable people in the world are discussing in telephone conversations or personal visits the establishment and governance of a peaceful and healthy planet where all life will thrive. More and more nations are exploring ways to reform or replace systems, policies, and organizations that have no place in Earth's future. The increased frequency will facilitate the transition from third density, so that harmony, respect, and the noblest aspects of different cultures and philosophies can enrich all the peoples of our world. The Dark Ones cannot prevent souls from awakening and embracing the energy of love and light that permeates the earth, for it is aligned with the activity in the solar system, the galaxy and the universe, but they will continue to cause turmoil and hardship as long as they can. Stand firm and keep your light shining brightly. You are beacons for the peoples of the world who need to reach a safe harbor as darkness draws its last breath. Evolution. The concept that ancient Earth civilizations were far more intelligent than we are challenges the chronological development of humankind. The scientific idea of human evolution would be flawed, according to Matthew. Life on Earth didn't begin with single-celled organisms in the sea, and human beings are not descended from apes. The first souls, the archangels, manifested two sets of ingredients for life forms. One was for animals, the other one for the gods and goddesses, and it is from these ingredients that all life forms in the cosmos have been created and evolved. The first inhabitants of the planet came from various advanced civilizations, and every person, animal and plant, knew that they contributed to and received from the other souls of the world. They conversed telepathically, and the entire planet was the Garden of Eden, thanks to their symbiotic relationship and consciousness of unity. We don't know how long this blissful world existed before the introduction of evil spread by the reptilians who came to this universe. They were the progenitors of the dark forces, of the enormous force field of dark thought forms that snakes through the universe, attracting individuals who crave wealth, power, and fame. These individuals become puppets of darkness and have only the spark of light that allows them to exist. Degradation. Some of the puppets took over worlds inhabited by inexperienced souls and put 10 of our 12 DNA strands into a dormant state. This reduced the soul's crystalline cells to a carbon structure and reduced the world's photon energy to electronic energy, which has far less light and consequently less power than photons. The puppets are also instilled anger, dishonesty, bellicosity, and cruelty in people's limited minds and created predatory species in the animal kingdom. Some of the souls with greatly reduced abilities and awakened personalities incarnated on the planet then called Terra, and were easily controlled by the puppets who also arrived. Here. Gaia, the soul that incarnated as a planet, had to twice resort to catastrophic measures to save her body from the destruction caused by the profound darkness that had dominated its inhabitants. On both occasions, all life suddenly emerged. Each time the planet became habitable after centuries of renewal, new souls arrived with advanced spiritual and conscious awareness, and the new civilization flourished in mind and heart. But the puppets also returned, and after eons of subjugation and destruction, the planet and its life forms were left virtually devoid of light. Ignorance. Recent history shows how this dire situation originated. Royal families with empires spanning the globe and members of dynasty lived royally, while their subjects and slaves lived in extreme poverty, where ignorance, disease, hunger, and contaminated water abounded. Civil wars, international wars, and 2 world wars were started by the darkness. Greed and corruption permeated corporations, governments, and religions. All sources of information were controlled. Weapons were developed to kill the masses, and darkness was omnipresent. Gaia didn't want to suffer a third dramatic loss and cried out for help. Instantly, God authorized highly evolved civilizations to radiate the enormous amount of light that saved the planet and its inhabitants. The dark forces were expelled from the galaxy by the forces of light, who also built a protective light grid around Earth inaccessible to low-frequency beings, and the Supreme Universal Council planned the Golden Age. Eventually, volunteers from evolved worlds began arriving with the mission of helping people awaken and free themselves from the control of darkness. Curious. Bells can defeat demons. The FBI announces a $15 billion healthcare fraud. Hawley exposes major insurance companies for defrauding their policy holders. Dr. Norman Bergram claimed that Saturn's rings are artificial. CERN now admits to communicating with entities from other dimensions, according to Anthony Patch. Representative Andy Ogles is calling on Secretary Doug Burgum to add President Trump to Mount Rushmore, according to Baron Trump. One day, destiny comes knocking. Karma is riding shotgun. It can happen quickly or slowly, according to Poet Dog. Your wealth can come into accord with the grand scheme and save you to a place of serene and constant harmony, according to Poet Dog. Creating martial artists without ethics is creating monsters, and creating very rich people without ethics is also creating monsters, according to J. Newman. A person linked to speculation about Brigitte Macron's transgender status fell fatally from a 12-story window. A newly discovered 19-kilometer wide interstellar object is hurtling toward the Sun. Could it collide with Mars? It's almost as if the universe is playing billiards, according to Michael Snyder. The world wants that an imminent Black Swan event will ignite the unthinkable, according to Sorja Fall. The 12-day war left Israel with a $20 billion bill to pay. Free energy through electromagnetic perpetual motion is already here. People are using it all over the world and building these devices in their garages. They can't kill everyone to maintain control. According to Dr. Lauren Nagel, some people die at 25 and aren't buried until they are 75. They are like the living dead, trapped in someone else's dream, in soulless jobs, and entangled in trauma. General Flynn claims that President Trump is paying attention to digital soldiers and social media. He claims we are engaged in fifth-generation warfare and that by uniting in that world we can win this battle. A classified executive order is being drafted that will authorize a task force to arrest, detain and prosecute citizens linked to war crimes and human rights violations. Nuremberg 2.0 is not a slogan, it's a mission. A congressman just revealed that the CIA briefed Trump about 4 alien species: Greys, Nordics, Mantids, and Reptilians. The Nordics are interbreeding with humans. The Greys are thousands of years more advanced than us, and we supposedly reverse engineered them. According to Kavamur, David Crash briefed President Trump about the Pleiadians. What they don't know is that Trump has been in contact with them for decades. Imagine his reaction when Crash tried to tell him about tall whites and their superior technology. A huge discovery has been made at Devil's Tower in Wyoming. A gigantic system of petrified root emerging from the base of Devil's Tower measures 6.5 kilometers deep and 11 kilometers wide. This proves that giant trees once existed. Edgar Cayce spoke about the afterlife. His knowledge aligns with modern quantum physics, confirming that souls retain their memories, connections, and individual essence while experiencing an expanded consciousness beyond physical limitations. Warped psychology of the rich. Chris Hedges argues that the trappings of wealth and privilege allow the wealthy to treat those around them as disposable property. They show contempt for the poor and the middle class, considering them parasites. Hedges argues that wealth creates a class of people for whom everyone else is disposable, and that the power and privilege of the wealthy are maintained through manipulation, control of ideas, and cultural propaganda. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.